Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Quick and Carry Kitchen. I'm Kristen Madrine, and I have an amazing dish for you today. Remember, about a month ago, one of you lovely friends of the kitchen asked me if we would do a pork chop dish. And I'm sorry I don't remember who did it, who asked that, but we take your requests very seriously. So here's a pork chop dish for you, and it is so delicious. However, I'm sitting here by my already chopped onions, and if you see tears rolling down my face, it's because these onions are so strong, and we're in a small room with hot lights on, and I'm about to cry from the deliciousness that is sitting in front of me. So, a couple of things that I want to tell you. We have some people to congratulate. We picked 3 of you from last week who left us a comment about zucchini. Wasn't that soup delicious? I know a bunch of you made it because of all your comments. That soup was delicious and easy. And remember to share that recipe with anybody who is new to the Instant Pot because that was fabulous and so quick to make. So, I want to say congratulations to Bruce Bice, Janet Dooley, and Deborah Smart. You're the 3 winners from last week's show, and you have won some of these awesome Quick and Carry tongs. As you know, these are some of my favorite kitchen utensils. I absolutely love them, and we'll send some to you. So, send me your addresses and I'll be in touch with you after this show. Who's joining us? Hi, Cami Dragon, how are you? Hey, Bill and Lena are both watching today. How are you guys? We love you. You wish you were here for this meal, Bill. I'm telling you, you would love what we're cooking today. Hey, Amy Luno, nice of you to join us today. So, today's recipe is for sort of like a German feast, if you will. I found this recipe when I was looking for pork chop recipes, and I want to give a shout out to Renee at Kudos Kitchen by Renee because she actually had already made a dill pickle and pork chop recipe, and so I adapted her recipe that was not for the Instant Pot to Instant Pot cooking. And I also have to give a shout out to my friend Alexandra Smith, whose mom is the inspiration for doing pork chops and a pickle juice, because that's what her mom Alice used to make when she was little, was pork chops with pickle juice over it, and they use a bread and butter pickle, which I think would be very delicious. But I wanted to go a little bit more in a gourmet direction, so we have onions chopped here, dill pickles, really good ones with lots of garlic in the juice here. I have some bacon, and I've already made the pork chops. Shout out to my local farmer, Joanne Olds. I got the bacon and the pork chops from her, and these pork chops have turned out fall off the bone tender. They are so delicious. All right. So I've said hello to all of you. I do want to say that the details for this dish are over on our blog. As usual, if you request the recipe, we'll send you the PDF. But if you want some of the finer points, a little bit more of the details of this dish will be on our blog over at quickandcarry.com. So let me tell you what I did. First of all, I got the pickle juice, and I'm using really nice kosher dills with a lot of garlic in them, and I think that's really important. And last night I I took 8 pork chops, 2 jars of the pickle juice, and I put them in a big glass pan, and I marinated the pork chops in the pickle juice overnight. If you don't have all of that time, at least try to get 30 minutes or maybe an hour. You can also do it in a plastic bag, which might make it simpler for you, especially if you're cooking on the road. But you do want to marinate the pork chops in the pickle juice for a little while so that they can absorb some of the deliciousness of the garlicky juice that's in the pickle jar. Then you take the pork chops out and you dry them, pat them dry, and salt and pepper them liberally on both sides and set them aside. Then you're going to chop your onion, your pickle, and your bacon. And I use my favorite thing. This is a Pampered Chef chopper, and it makes short work of onions, the pickles, anything that I ever chop. I especially do these when I make a dish with peppers in it. So watch how this works. Look at that. It's so simple. Okay, so you're going to chop up your pickles, you're chopping up your onions, and you can even use it to chop up your bacon. And hi, Diane. Hi, Dawn. How are you? Glad you guys are seeing us. Ruth Light, nice to have you. Yes, Ruth, pickles and pork chops together. I know. It seems weird, but oh my gosh, it is so delicious. So I prepared all my chopped stuff, and then I did sauteing in the Instant Pot. So this is where I want to caution you. There are a couple of things to think about. Number one, for those of you who are new to the Instant Pot, or even for some of you experienced cooks, you can set the temperature of the saute. On my Ultra, I can do low, medium, or high. And I feel that the Instant Pot gets really hot on hot saute. So I usually saute on medium, and I put the onions and the bacon in and just sauteed them with a little bit of olive oil for about 5 or 6 minutes. And then I removed the bacon and the onion, and there was quite a bit of browned bits on the bottom already because of how hot the saute function is. So I took a little bit of my beef broth and I deglazed the pan very, very well. And then I took some of my dried and seasoned pork chops, put them in and browned them on both sides. And again, even after just that step, 4 of the pork chops, I had to deglaze the pan again. Did 4 more, same process, deglazed the pan a 3rd time, and I kept taking those juices and putting those wonderful brown bits on what I had already sauteed. So I had a little dish here. I put all the sauteed stuff together, and I just kept adding all of that browned stuff because it's so delicious. It adds a lovely note. You don't want to not use it, but here's the point. An Instant Pot will not get to pressure if there are too many browned bits or anything burned on the bottom after you've sauteed. So take either a metal or a really good straight-edged spatula and really get all of the stuff off the bottom of the Instant Pot before you add everything back in. And that way you are assured that your pot will actually come up to pressure and cook the rest of your dish. So what I did was I did all of the sauteing of the pork chops, the bacon, everything, got that all done, cleaned out the Instant Pot, and then added all of that stuff back in. And I'll show you that in just a second. Yes, Cammie asked a wonderful question. Can you use a different kind of broth? You absolutely can. The original recipe called for beef, so that's what I used, but you could use chicken. You could even use vegetable broth, whatever you have and whatever you can consume. Absolutely, it will not change the depth, especially if you do a really good job during the sauteing part of the dish. Then I added all of the pork chops, all of the bacon, the onions, everything, the chopped pickles, and very importantly, most of the pickle juice, especially all the garlic, all of that went into the Instant Pot. And then, because we're having a special celebration today, I also added, you know how I love these, a basket full of potatoes. So you can put the pork chops and all of the goodies that cook the pork chops on the bottom. And then I filled my basket with new potatoes. and they cooked perfectly. So you can serve the dish with the new potatoes, with the juices over it, and the fall apart tender pork chops. They were delicious together. Hi, Kathy, Genovese. So glad to see you here. Tony, nice of you to drop by today. So glad to see all of you who are joining us live. Okay, so in the Instant Pot now, I'm going to bring out and show you. I'm going to move this a little bit out of the way and get this over here closer. Here comes a pork chop, people. They are so delicious. Oh my gosh, they smell so good. And again, a shout out to my local farmer, Joanne, because she makes the best bacon that I've ever tasted in my life. I love her bacon so much, and her pork chops are just as good. And they're very thick, and I hope you can see this. This little piece of pork chop is so tender, it just will melt in your mouth. So I've got the pork chops with some of the juices and a little bit of the dill pickle on it. And you can put the bacon, dill pickle, and onion over the potatoes. And it makes a very German, lovely, warm, and savory lunch or dinner. This is going to be lunch here in the Quick and Carry kitchen for our Quick and Carry colleagues to celebrate 1 year ago. Today was when we first came up with the hashtag Take Your Instant Pot to Work. And that was our first blog posts about the Quick and Carry kitchen were a year ago. And it was from that this show was born. So to celebrate, I wanted to cook a nice lunch for everyone here in the Quick and Carry kitchen. I know when I started cooking here this morning, people would start wandering in. It smells good in here, and it does. I love how the Instant Pot makes your home or office smell. It just smells so delicious when you've got food cooking. All right, now I have some other notes, so I want to make sure that I tell you. I think the sautéing part was the part that oh yes, here's the other part that I want to make sure to tell you. For those of you who are new to Instant Pot cooking, but even those who are experienced, remember when you cook meat in an Instant Pot, it is important to do a natural pressure release, at least 10 minutes. And that is because, especially after pressure has been applied to meat, the cellular walls of the meat will relax, and in that 10 minutes natural pressure release, it will reabsorb some of the juices, and it will make your meat much more tender and much more delicious. So always, always, always use a natural pressure release when you are cooking meat in your Instant Pot. And generally, we recommend between 10 to 15 minutes where you just let it sit. It kind of finishes cooking, and then the juices are reabsorbed back into the beef, the chicken, the pork, whatever you're making, and your beef, chicken, or pork will be more flavorful and much more tender. Kathy wanted to know what made you start your Instant Pot cooking shows. Well, we wanted to talk about our bag, our wonderful Quick and Carry cooking bag, our transport bag for the Instant Pot, but we also felt like there was a wonderful need for some demonstrations of how to actually use the Instant Pot. If you've never used one before, it can be very intimidating. I know lots of people who sit and look at them for a while before they actually use them. And as I became a better Instant Pot cook, I wanted to share what I was learning, and especially because if any of you have read anything, my blog posts, or seen me talk about this before, once you have used an Instant Pot about 5 times, you're an expert. They're not hard to use. You just have to get used to their functions. And we wanted to be able to share the ease and our love of cooking. Plus, the Quick and Carry people like to eat good food. And so we started doing all of this as a show to include you in what we were cooking and learning about the Instant Pot. That's a great question. Thank you. Hi, Amy. Oh, I know you love your quick and carry bag. Amy, I'm so glad that you do. They are great bags. We really, really love those. Samantha, all you have to do is request the recipe and we will send a PDF of the recipe to you. I love it when you guys ask me questions, and even those of you who are watching the show after we do the live broadcast, leave us questions, leave us comments, because we look at every one of them and we want to answer any questions or concerns you have about the recipe, the Instant Pot, the bag, or anything. Yeah, Cindy was scared to use hers at first, but you've used it 3 times now. Then a couple more times and you'll be an expert too. I was afraid of it the first time. I stood across the room and kind of watched and saw what happened. And I made potatoes first because I knew that potatoes and eggs, come on, how badly could you mess those up? But now I feel like an accomplished cook with this. I cook all sorts of different things in it, everything from soups to desserts you can cook in your Instant Pot. And I love using it, especially in the summer, to keep my kitchen cooler. So if you've only used it 3 times, try this recipe. You'll be so pleased. It's not hard. As long as you can follow a recipe, no Instant Pot recipe I've ever seen is too hard to make. All right. Yeah, Diane uses hers weekly, hard-boiled eggs and yogurt. I will admit to all of you, my quick and carry friends, I've never made yogurt in one yet. I just don't eat a lot of yogurt, and I haven't really gotten on that bandwagon, but I do feel like that's like out there for me to do, is learn how to make yogurt in my Instant Pot. All right. So for next week's giveaway, we thought this would be a fun question. I'm sitting here with tears in my eyes because of the onions. What do you do when you've chopped onions to keep yourself from crying? Do you use cold water? I know somebody once told me, I don't know if this was in home ec class or where I learned this, but you can hold a piece of bread in your mouth and that will absorb the fumes from the onions. So for those of you who are watching, leave a comment down below about how do you deal with the tears that you get from onions, and 3 of you next week will win a pair of my favorite things. I love these tongs so much. Okay, let's review. This is a German style pork chop with bacon, onions, and dill pickles. I used really garlicky dill pickles so that the juice that you marinate the pork chops in would have plenty of garlic, and the pork chops will fill up with some of that deliciousness. Then you saute bacon and onions in your Instant Pot. Take that out. Put in your pork chops, make sure they get nice and browned. Deglaze the pan with either beef broth or your favorite kind of broth. Put all of that stuff, including the pickle juice, back in. And then I put in a basket of potatoes that fit right over. And this is 8 pork chops in here, and the potatoes still fit just fine. And now you put it on pressure for 20 minutes. Leave it for at least 10 minutes of a natural pressure release. And we now have a delicious, take your Instant Pot to work lunch for the quick and carry people. We have a very simple kitchen here. It is nothing fancy, but for the last year, we eat really well on Fridays because we have the Instant Pot and we use it. And I am so delighted. I love to feed people. It's one of my love language things, is feeding people shows them how much I love them. So today, there's a lot of love coming at my colleagues here in the Quick and Carry kitchen. Okay, oh, this is great. Cammie works through her tears. Kathy uses sweet onions so she doesn't cry. Tony puts them in the fridge to cool them. And Ruth, I've never heard of that. Microwaving for 10 seconds. I wish I had tried that because I'm sitting here with tears in my eyes just from sitting near these beautiful onions from today. So those are all great, great ideas I'm totally going to try cold potatoes or microwaving them. I think those are wonderful, and that's why we love to talk to our friends in the kitchen, because you guys have such great ideas for us. Thank you. All right. Um, Leave us a comment about how you deal with the onions. 3 of you will win. Congratulations to Bruce, Jana, and Deborah for the win today. We'll see you here next week. And I do want to let you know on Friday, August 17th, we'll be having a special guest. Our first time bringing someone else in to cook with me in the Quick and Carry kitchen. So you do not want to miss that really fun show where we're going to make honey garlic chicken using local honey and a recipe that my friend Alex, that I mentioned before, she sort of cobbled a bunch of different recipes together, and it's fantastic. So I'm going to have her come over and cook with me on August 17th. Thanks so much for joining us. And as our friend Julia Child used to say, bon appetit.